Alright, so today what we're going to do is I'm going to demonstrate how to remove and reinstall a glass insert into a GDM10 true cooler door. So step one, first process you want to do is get yourself an area to do the install like we have here. Next you want to remove your door gasket. So we're just going to pull the door gasket off, being careful not to tear your corners. If this is a good door gasket, you may want to reuse it. So just be careful you don't tear your corners. Set that off to the side. Now next what we're going to do is we're going to remove all the trim, which is usually inserted in with screws. Now I recommend a long number 2 Phillips nib. The short ones are a little more difficult to get down within the grooves of the trim. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove all the trim all the way around this specific model door. Now this one here happens to be what we refer to as a non-IDL door, basically meaning that it does not have any interior lights. An LED door which doesn't have any exterior frame lights around the outside. So this is just a basic non-IDL door. We're going to remove our door handle as well, so we're going to make sure we take that off and hang on to those parts. We'll reinstall that. Alright, once you have everything loose, we're just going to work the trim loose from the frame. Alright, now once we have our trim removed, basically you're left with a flat frame. So now what we want to do is we want to remove the insert. Now on some of these, if the glass is already currently loose, you can generally push this out with your hand. However, this one here seems to be applied very securely. So what we will do is flip it over. And I'm going to take a simple hammer and a trowel here, chisel, well it's not even a chisel, trowel. And we're going to work this door loose all the way around the frame. Now I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this, I'm just getting the trowel up underneath the edge of the trim, breaking the adhesion loose. I don't want to pry too hard. I don't want to crack or break the glass. Even though this may be a bad insert, it'll just be more of a mess to have to clean up later. Now you can do this all the way around the door or until we have most of the corners and whatnot free. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to push the insert loose from the frame. Set our frame off to the side temporarily. Now any of your old shims that happen to come out of your frame, if they're stuck to your glass, you're going to want to save those because we're going to reuse these later on when we reinstall the glass. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these off. Have all of them off. Now you can discard your old insert. Set it off to the side. Now for reinstalling your glass, as you can tell, it's a bit of a mess with all the tape and the glue and the shim. So what we want to do is we want to clean this up. The first thing we want to do is we want to remove all this old tape that's currently inside of it. Now you can use a straight razor, box cutter. It works pretty good to get your edges uplifted on there. Again, we're just going to go all the way around the frame, removing all this old door tape. A lot of times this tape will come off with your old insert as well, which can be helpful. Discard your old tape. Now the old shims that are currently in here, basically what I want to do is I want to remove these and remove the old tape, and I'm going to put some fresh tape down on these when I reuse them just to be sure that I get proper adhesion and that they're secured in the frame. Alright, so once we have all our tape and shims out, next thing you want to do is, you can tell most of the frame itself is fairly clean, but there is some tape residue that's left inside here. So what I'll do is I'll take just a regular razor blade, and I'll scrape the inside of this frame, basically breaking loose any of the old debris that's left in there. And that'll help me get better adhesion with my new tape. Now what I'll do is I'll just take a regular rag. If you have Windex, Simple Green, any kind of cleaning product, anything that you can use just to wipe the inside of that frame down. Basically, I'm just getting any dust or debris in there off the track. It'll help my tape stick a lot better as well. As you can see, it's still, even scraping it'll still wipe out quite a bit of dirt and debris off your track. Alright, now our next step is we're going to want to use our double-sided gray tape, which is provided for us to re-secure our insert with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a line of this, basically just on the inside of the frame. I'm going to run this all the way down, making sure that that's applied nice and tight. Now you can cut these off in your corners however you would like to. I generally like to keep them at a 45. Again, you can just cut them off straight. Alright, so now once you've got your tape in, you just want to take your finger and you want to run that down the perimeter, just to make sure you have a good adhesion all the way around that. Because in our next step, what we're going to do is we're going to peel the backing off of this tape. And I do highly recommend using a razor or a razor blade or a box cutter, because this back end of tape, the paper on the tape, can be difficult to get off with your fingers. So as you can see there, we're basically going to take all this off. All the way around. Alright. You can discard your tape paper. Now our shims, we're going to reinstall these as well into our door. And basically what you want to do is you want to make sure the glass is, for the most part, centered in the frame as best you possibly can. And of course, inserting the glass this way, it's kind of hard to see the front of the frame. So with the shims, it really does help to alleviate the shifting of the glass, and it also helps to center and make sure you have a nice border all the way around the frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take regular masking tape, which is exactly what was on the frame initially. I'm just going to reapply some new cleaner tape. And basically what you want to do, you want to make sure you have shims all the way around the perimeter. Now this being a smaller door, you don't have to use quite as many shims as may have come in it, but for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and reapply basically all the ones that they currently had in the machine. So what you're going to do is you're going to take one on this side, and you're going to put one on that side, and you're going to tape those in. And you're going to do the same at the bottom. Bottom one to the bottom. Now on your other side and your top, to keep the distance shifted accurately, what you want to do is you want to place two shims on each side. And usually, it doesn't matter if it's door handle side or opposite side, but you just want to make sure you have two on that side. Two at your top, and you're going to do the same thing at the top. Or bottom. Just make sure it's opposite of one another. If you have one on the bottom, put two at the top. If you have one on each side of your door handle side, just make sure you have two on the opposite side. And it poses true each way. Alright, so now we have everything taped up. We have our tape inside our frame, we have our shims in, we're actually ready for our installation of our insert. So here we have a brand new glass insert. It's already nicely labeled and clean for me. So the way you want to tell if you have the top or the bottom of your door is very simple. What side of the handle of the door, or what side of the machine the door handle was on. So this happened to be on the right side, but it's at the top of the frame. So this is a very good indicator on which is top, which is bottom. This also happens to be a left hinge door. So I know in this GDM10, my spring tensioner is in the bottom, but also know it's going to be on the left side of the machine. So this is going to be my left side, which I know is going to be the top. So key indicator, know where your door handle is. So I know this is the top of my frame. So I'm going to take my insert. I'm going to slide it in, keeping it right off the bottom of the door and right off the side of the door. Now your shims will make it tight, so you want to take your trowel. You want to work that in all the way around until it's nice and seated. As you can see, we're nice and secure. We have a good distance all the way around. It's nice and even. So we have good application on our glass insert. Now, on our trim that we're going to reinstall on here, the one thing I always do is I double check and make sure the existing tape on here is good. If this tape is damaged or falling off or just in bad shape, then you're going to want to peel this off and use what we have here. It's a single-sided foam tape, and for the sake of demonstration purposes, I will peel this one off. And again, this is only a single-sided tape, meaning the tackiness is only on one side, and that's going to be on the side that's going up against the trim. The other side is going to kind of form a moisture barrier, but it's also going to give the trim something with a cushion to lay on, so it's not laying exactly on the glass itself. So it provides a little bit of security as well. And again, you'll want to peel the backing off of that as you did your other tape. Alright, so now we're ready to reapply all of our door trim. Then what you want to do is basically just line this up with the existing holes that you had. Go ahead and place that on like such. And again, just using our screw gun, we're going to screw that back down securely to the frame. Now again, for your left and right side, you're always going to look for the piece that's pre-drilled, and that'll have your holes in it for your or for your door handle. So that side we know is going to go on our handle side of our door. And again, if you've left your screws in it and you're using the existing holes, they're only going to go in one way. So if you happen to have your trim on the wrong side, it's going to be very quick to distinguish that. Again, I'm going to follow the same process all the way around, resecuring all my trim. Alright, I'm going to spin this around since my door handle happens to be facing away from me. Spin that around. I'm going to overhang it off the table just slightly, just so I can get my screws back in for my door handle. Now you have these plastic shims that'll go on the exterior of your door handle. And basically what that does is it gives you distance in order to get your hand around the door handle to open the door. So it'll give you a bit of a shim in there. Alright, our last process is if you're reinstalling your door gasket. You want to put your door gasket on back the same way it was prior to installation and removal. Working your gasket back into your trim. Alright, last step, let's flip your door over. As you can see from the outside of this, we have very nice application. There's no spaces in between our frame. We have a nice border all the way around. And our final process, if this door is going to go back on the machine, is we're going to remove the label. And this door is ready to be reapplied to GDM10 non-IDL machine. Thank you.